Imagine walking alone through the woods at dusk. The trees stand like silent sentinels, the last light of day filtering through twisted branches. You hear a twig snap behind you. But when you turn, there's nothing, just the wind, or so you think. For some, that eerie moment becomes more than imagination. That's where the legend of the Dogman begins. I am Michelle,
And I am Isaiah.
and this is Shifting Veils, where we talk about the unexplained, possibly paranormal, and always strange.
In today's episode, we are going to discuss Dogman. And if you like that sort of stuff, maybe give us a like, share, and follow. And don't forget, if you have your own spooky story, send us an email. We may feature your story in a future episode.
The Dogman is a cryptid said to resemble a bipedal wolf like creature. Taller than a man, often described as standing between 7 and 9 feet tall, with a muscular build, digitigrade legs, and a head like a German shepherd or a timber wolf. Witnesses often report glowing eyes, usually yellow or amber, and dark fur, sometimes matted or patchy. Unlike a typical animal sighting, what sets the dogman apart is its posture. It walks upright, like a man, and watches, like something that shouldn't be able to think the way it does.
The Dogman isn't new. Tales of man wolf hybrids date back centuries. Indigenous peoples' stories across different tribes mention skinwalkers and shape shifting spirits that resemble upright canines. But the more modern legend gained traction in Michigan, particularly around the Manistee National Forest in the 1880s. That's when loggers allegedly encountered a creature unlike anything they'd seen before. The term dogman didn't become mainstream until the late 20th century, largely thanks to radio shows, internet forums, and first-hand witness reports. One of the most well-known incidents was the Gable film hoax, which captivated cryptid circles before being revealed as a clever fabrication. But by then, the myth had already taken deep root.
So I wanted to ask. I know we touch on like prior stories, like before Dogman, of skinwalkers. We did an episode covering flesh pedestrians. But I mean, what do you personally think? Do you think that that could be what Dogman is, or do you think this is something else entirely?
I think it's just something else entirely.
I'm kind of under the same idea as well, but I have heard people say that maybe that's what's going on. I don't
Because,
know.
see, there's not a lot of like halfway shapeshifting when it comes to skinwalkers. There's just
Hmm.
not. It's either animal or person.
Yes.
Um, there's no just walking upright like a human and having the head of a wolf or a timber wolf or something like that. It's just not like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that makes sense.
timber wolves aren't. I don't think timber wolves are even in like Navajo Nation.
Right. Well, and they're certainly not in Oklahoma where
Hmm.
there are sightings of Dogman.
And I wanted to ask you, did you watch this Gable film? Do you know about this hoax very well,
I
or?
know of it. I didn't watch it. I haven't watched it. Have you watched it?
I haven't watched it, but I did read up on it a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Um, and there's a few people that like threw questions out there that like make me curious about it because it's basically a handful of clips edited together.
Okay.
There's like somebody doing one thing and then cut, and then somebody doing another thing and then cut, and then somebody doing another thing, cut, then the animal attacking, cut. And one of
Are
the
these all in
things,
the same area or
yeah,
location?
yeah,
Or
it's the
okay.
same location. And one of the things that was brought to attention was that the person that filmed it apparently, the and there was like the animal attacked, and then there was another cut, and then there was a clip of body parts strewn about, and then cut, right?
Okay.
So the thing is that the person who filmed it, or the person, the whatever it is, they were going through and saying, look, these are the props, this is the cars, this is all the stuff here. It's obviously we it was just a big production. That's all it was.
Okay.
And the thing is that one of the bigger things that was discussed about it was that they showed the props to like the X and the cars and all the different things that was being used, the snowmobile, the snow or whatever. And but they didn't have any props for the creature. They didn't show any props for the creature. They didn't show any costume. Um,
Oh.
and then there was the fact of how the animal moved in the clip that was thrown into the clips. You know,
Okay, so the people that made it came out and said it was a hoax
they
after the
were,
fact.
yeah, they were claiming it as a hoax,
But
not admitting it was a hoax, but
okay,
claiming it was a hoax.
but because there's no um the actual creature itself isn't shown as part of any of the props, are you questioning that maybe it was a legitimate thing and they were forced to say it was a hoax?
I think that there is a possibility because,
Okay.
like what I read, the person that I can't remember what who the person's name who posted it. I apologize, but there is the point that they made was that um, there was no animal costume, no creature costume that was shown as a prop, and the way that the creature moved in the clip seemed more animal than human, as if a human dressed in a costume trouncing
Okay.
about on all fours can't zigzag the way an animal can zigzag if they're moving about.
Right.
So there's a
And
handful of different things there.
something comes to mind too. You know, the really old footage of Sasquatch, the
Hmm.
really old one. And you can kind of see how, like, you can kind of see the muscle underneath the skin and the fur and everything. So it
Yeah.
doesn't appear to be a suit. I mean, that's kind of an argument I've heard regarding that. So it makes me wonder too. I'm going to have to watch this because now I'm curious. I want to see this creature and see if it also looks that way. And when someone's wearing a suit, you don't see like the foundational structures. You don't see the muscle structure. You don't see the bone structure other than like the human bone structure because it's a human wearing a suit. So you
Right.
can kind of tell when someone's in a suit and when they're
And I mean,
not.
think about it. The Gable hoax was like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the whole Gable film was in the 70s. So the, even if they did have a costume, the costume's not going to be good enough to be a creature that seems real.
I agree with that. They didn't really have that type of material, you
Like,
know.
yeah, if they're going to do a quick shot, it's probably going to be something like a ghillie suit. If they're looking for a creature and not a bear or an animal, it's going to be something that isn't known to our senses already as an animal. You know what
What?
I'm saying?
Tell me again when that took place.
70s, the Gable film.
Yeah, when did when did American Werewolf in London get filmed?
That was like 70s too, wasn't it?
Okay, so the special effects that werewolf did, does it resemble the one in the Gable film at all? Because that's the kind of special effects we're looking at for that era. I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, if you think about, if we go with American Werewolf in London, American Werewolf, they had wolf, like a wolf face, wolf hands, and fur protruding from clothing, right? That's the
Yeah,
way werewolves usually were portrayed because they weren't gonna give a werewolf a full body because it'd be too obvious.
I remember seeing a full body in that movie
Did they?
on all fours at one point, and he's like roaming around through the city, and everyone it's like mayhem. It looked absolutely horrendous. I mean, I it was horrible, horrible, horrible special effects even back then to me as a kid. I could tell it was. I'm just mortified of werewolves. So the movie terrified me, but it was horrible special effects.
Hmm.
I mean, it just, I don't know. There was no movement underneath the fur. It looked like a machine with fur on it, with a scary face. I mean, it just
Well,
didn't look like a beast at all.
that I mean, they it's very possible that they did something similar to how they did Clash of the Titans. Do you
Yeah.
remember the old film there where they had
Hmm.
the different creatures and skeletons and
Yeah.
stuff like that? So it's very possible they did something similar to that as far as filming goes. It's been a while since I saw the original American Werewolf in London.
So that would be like the technology that we're looking at whenever the
Yeah,
Gable film was created.
I would
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah, I want to see it. I'm curious. I'll
I think you can see it on YouTube. So
I'll find it. Most encounters happen in remote wooded areas, thick forests, abandoned roads, and farmsteads near large stretches of wilderness. People report seeing the dogman watching from the tree line, chasing vehicles at high speeds, or prowling the edges of rural properties, often just beyond the reach of light. Um, there is locally, there's a handful of people that are aware of something um, near where I live. It's kind of, it's bordering the city limit, on the southeast side, so opposite of me, I'd have to say. But um, there, I haven't encountered it, but I know of, I have to say, 5 different people that have encountered it, and I've often wondered if this was a dog man. Um, they didn't all see this thing at the same time, not even in the same year, but they all saw it in the same place. And one encounter, a man just saw it standing like near a tree, looking at him and someone else that was working on a car, and it didn't do anything. It was just there, um, probably 50 feet away. And in the other case, there was a group of people that were out in this area in the country, um, hanging out. This isn't nighttime. Neither of these times are at night. This is broad daylight. And it's at a creek bed. There's a tree line because it's a creek. Um, but they were just hanging out on this bridge, and they started hearing like twigs snapping, and all of a sudden this thing throws its leg over this guardrail that's on the road. It climbs up on the road. They all hop in the truck and they haul ass away from it, and this thing chases them and keeps up with them until they get to the top of the hill. They headed east from their location. They went out there a couple more times. This and at that point I would have to say that this was aggressive. This thing was being aggressive. It wasn't just observing like it seemed to be the time before. Um, hairy, bipedal, um, but also on all four at times. um, when I first heard of it, like the first time I heard about it, I heard about it from one person. I didn't hear the other story until years later from the other people. But the first story, to me, it sounded like Bigfoot because it was this tall person like figure on 2 legs that was hairy standing in the trees, just there hanging out, watching them. So, I just always thought it was just, Bigfoot. But with the other account, it's always made me wonder if this was actually Dogman because he was aggressive and he chased them. So I don't know. I've been out there several times. I don't like how it feels out there. I'm not saying I want to see it, especially if it is Dogman. I don't really want to encounter that, but um, yeah, it's a little interesting. Um, What makes Dogman truly frightening isn't just its size or assumed strength, but how it behaves. Witnesses describe it as intelligent. It doesn't bumble out of the woods like a bear or act startled like a deer. It stares, it flanks, it seems to observe, and in some cases follow as though testing boundaries. And unlike Bigfoot, the dogman is almost always described with an air of malevolence. There is something predatory in the way it's said to move. People don't just feel watched, they feel hunted.
Skeptics offer a variety of theories. Could it be misidentified wildlife? A bear with mange? A wolf standing on its hind legs? Some suggest mass some suggest mass hysteria, hoaxes, or even lucid dreaming. Yet many of those who claim to have seen the dogman insist what they witnessed was not a bear, not a trick of the light, and certainly not a dream. Paranormal theories abound too. Some believe the dogman may be a spiritual entity, possibly tied to ancient curses or portals in certain areas. Others say it could be a government experiment gone rogue, or a creature from another dimension bleeding into our world. People describe the encounters with trembling voices, wide eyes, and a certainty that what they saw wasn't natural. They remember the sound of its breathing, the weight of its footsteps, the way its eyes didn't just reflect the light, but seemed to return it with purpose. Often they remember a feeling, not of curiosity, not of confusion, but of being prey.
I actually have a friend that lives in central Kansas with her boyfriend, not far from a reservation on a really old farm. And almost immediately after moving out there, she says they both saw what they think was a dog man. The first time she saw it, it was around 9 p.m. She told me it was maybe 25 to 40 feet away, staying low to the ground. At first, she thought it was a coyote. So she grabbed her BB gun to scare it off, but then it moved, not like a coyote. She said it ran nearly an acre in just seconds. And when it got to the tree line, it turned back to look at her. Its eyes were forward facing like a predator. And that is when she said it did something that she will never forget. It stood up. She said it had to be somewhere between 7 and 10 feet tall. An hour and a half later, she and her boyfriend were outside again, and this time they both saw it. It was across the road, maybe 75 feet away, still moving on two legs. They could hear it snapping full size tree branches as it moved. Here's where it gets even stranger to me. They hear voices out there, not human, not animal, just strange, disembodied voices in the night. She said they don't sound like coyotes or cats or anything they know. It's like something trying to mimic, but not quite getting it right, just enough to be unsettling. Like they're trying to sound like people, but they don't know how.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, if we see something as a threat, I mean, whenever we see bears and we encounter bears, we're supposed to make ourselves look bigger, right?
Yeah.
So make yourself blend in. Do as the Romans do.
I'm sorry. They're not blending in, I don't think.
They're trying.
Well, bless their little hearts. They're not doing a very good job. I don't know. Not doing a very good job.
What makes the Dogman legend persist is how consistent the sightings are. From Michigan to Wisconsin, from the Appalachians to the Ozarks. Even as far as Europe, the descriptions don't vary much. They tell of a tall, upright canine that appears briefly, just long enough to terrify, and then vanishes into the woods as if it were part of the forest itself. There's rarely an attack, no solid evidence, just these terrifying glimpses that leave behind scratches on doors, strange howls, or footprints too large to explain, and always the feeling that it's still out there, watching.
Is it real? That depends on who you ask. Some say it's a myth born from fear of the wild, an echo of wolves we tried to forget. Others believe it's a real creature, a predator, so rare or so elusive that it's escaped science entirely. And then there are those who say it's not a creature at all, but a harbinger, something that appears when the veil between our world and something older wears thin. What's certain is this: the Dogman legend isn't fading. In fact, sightings have increased in recent years, especially with the rise of online forums and YouTube channels dedicated to cryptid encounters. So, what do you think it is? What do you think it is,
You asking
Isaiah?
me or the odd? Oh,
I'm
me.
asking you. Well, yeah, I want to hear from the audience too, but I'm asking you. What do you think it is?
I I don't know. Like it. I mean, when we said it was like a government experiment, I mean, obviously my conspiracy brain flashed on that, but um, I think there's a lot of things that are hidden from our purview. But
Sometimes I can agree with that.
I mean, this it could. There's a lot. There's just so much. I mean, I showed you like the thing about the hollow Earth and everything, and there's like there's creatures that we don't know.
Mhm.
That I'm sure that there's creatures we don't know live out there somewhere.
I definitely think it's something because of the people that I know that have experienced something that
Hmm.
could easily be labeled as Dogman. More easily labeled Dogman than anything else out there, you know?
Hmm.
So I think it's something. Do I think that it is a cryptid, an animal that hasn't been discovered yet, that's born and lives and dies, and then there's remains that get buried or decay, on top of the earth to be found, or I don't think that it's that. I don't think that it's that because I think that if it was that, we would have maybe discovered it by now. That's
I
not
guess.
just that's not to say that there are things out there that, eat and breathe and shit and die and all of that, and we just haven't found it yet. I do think that there are things out there we haven't discovered yet, but um, we find pieces of them, you know,
Hmm.
that increase the intrigue and the desire to search for them. But Dogman, you know, the most we've found of Dogman is footprints. So it's kind of like Bigfoot. I don't know. I don't think that they're a physical animal we haven't discovered yet.
Could be Beast de Gévaudan reincarnated.
uh, Chevaudan. I think that was a cryptid. I think that that was an animal for sure.
It's the child. The child survived.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like Dogman is spectral in some way. I feel like it's paranormal. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just my opinion. Everybody
Maybe
needs to come up with their own opinion and
maybe
view of this.
related some way to the black shark.
Possibly, that's a lot of folklore.
Maybe very Oklahoman black shark.
It's not just in Oklahoma, though. It's in Kansas. They said it was in Europe too. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Wisconsin. It's everywhere. I mean, there literally are sightings of Dogman everywhere. So, and that's another thing. Most animals have places that they can and can't survive,
Maybe,
because of weather and things like that, terrain.
maybe they are Twilight cosplayers.
Jesus. uh, Either way, people are speaking up, sharing their stories, and in doing so, connecting pieces of a mystery that stretches back generations. So the next time you're walking a quiet trail at dusk and the forest seems a little too quiet, if you hear branches snap behind you, slow, deliberate, if you get the sense that something is just beyond your vision, keeping pace, waiting, don't look too long into the trees, because if the stories are true, it's already looking back.